Welcome, everyone, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is the pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. This is episode 110. I'm your host, collector, barber, and musician, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Booker Andy. Keeping my intro short today.
And our other amazing host, the no-selling indie wrestling fan, Jeremy, sends his regards.
And football lover.
He has another busy week. We love him. We miss him. We wish he was here with us. He will be back, just so everybody knows. Jeremy is doing his thing. He will be back very soon. All right. Today we will be talking and discussing the happenings in the world of pro wrestling, including the Continental Classic, Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland, CM Punk returning to Smackdown, and CM Punk confronting Seth Rollins. Before we get started, please go to youtube.com/thepwfan, where we please ask you to subscribe to our channel, comment, like, all that stuff really helps us out. For all other social media, you just want to go to @thepwfan for X, Instagram, TikTok, all those. We should pop right up. For merch, you go to prowrestlingtees.com/thepwfan. And I think that covers all of our intro stuff. Booker Andy, I'm sending it over to you. We got a big week to talk about in the world of wrestling. Episode 110. Let's go, pal.
So I want to start the top of the show with the upcoming weeks for the pod. So we are right now 2 days late. Tim had an prior engagement on Monday. I got all my wisdom teeth pulled out on Tuesday, and mouth was filled with gauze, couldn't really talk. And then, Jeremy has his own personal things that he's dealing with today. So that's why we're late, and that's why Jeremy's not here. And then next week, it's all because of me. We will not be having an episode because I'm going to be in Florida.
It's your fault.
My dad.
It's ruining
my fault.
For the people.
I will take the blame. And then the week after, we're going to be a day late because we normally record on Mondays, and the week after that falls on Christmas. So we're going to be recording on that Tuesday, which means the episode will come out on Wednesday.
I just want to say, the PW Fan, full transparency, thus far in our 2-some-year career, besides some t-shirt sales and amongst other things, we don't make any money from this. And I'm just so proud that you and Jeremy, we carry on and we keep doing our thing, even when life...
So 110, baby!
110, baby. Even when life comes along, we keep going. But it's really not about... I love doing the show, but the thing that at this point keeps us, I think, so motivated to keep going for so long is we see the views, and we know that we have a core listenership, and you guys, that people that we don't even know, and please, we really encourage you to please email us and contact us, because we'd love to actually talk, answer questions, become pen pals, whatever you call it. We see the numbers, we know that you're there. Please, engage with us more. But you guys keep us motivated. We love doing the show, and we're happy to do it. So even with all these wisdom teeth and crazy stuff going on in the holidays, the PW Fan carries on, and we're excited to do episode 110 today. So Andy and I have been excited about it all week. We've been trying to finally make this happen. So it's nice to finally sit down and do it.
Yeah, I mean, and yesterday when I had my wisdom teeth out, both you and Jeremy were able to do it then, and I was the one that couldn't.
Jeremy was going to be
all
here.
Three of all.
Yeah, we just and to let anybody who might be concerned, Jeremy's fine. Jeremy's okay. It's a busy time of year for everybody. Jeremy's the editor of the show,
and things come up in people's lives.
Yeah,
so
Jeremy edits the show, so he's actively listening. He hears every episode. And he will be back on air with us. I'm thinking by episode 111 when we come back, he should be back. And that's no pressure to him,
Should
you
be.
know.
That's the plan.
But
That is the plan. I
so
should
what else?
say something that we've been doing lately, or I should say Tim, is just about every day, maybe miss one here or there. We've been posting a clip to TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's new. Where we make a bunch of clips from the previous episode and try to find engaging ones, and Tim's been posting them. So that's something new if you follow us on TikTok.
Yeah, for TikTok, which we've been using a lot more, posting a lot more stuff on there. It's just like I said earlier,
TikTok, where's that?
At the PW Fan. We post clips of the show, funny clips. As I make stupid little meme videos and all kinds of stuff. So it's becoming more and more of a platform that we engage more on, and we'd like to see it, get a little bigger.
Give us some likes, share it, view
Help
it.
us out.
Help us out. Maybe then one day we'll get paid for this, but for now, we've done 110 episodes for fun. So
we're gonna keep going forever out of spite. That's how my brain works. I'll just never stop. You and Jeremy eventually are like, I'm not into it anymore. I'll just be here by myself, angry, ranting.
We all really just do it for the love of the game. We all really enjoy it. So,
no,
we're
gonna
keep doing it.
The thing is, we're gonna have these conversations anyway, right? We are so thankful that there's people out there that actually, I hear people all the time say like they're just fans. So not about us, but like different podcasts and dirt sheets, and they're just fans. So who cares what they have to say? So if there's like 100, some people of you that think we're funny and like keep up with us every now and then, like we're so thankful for that, because I hear all the time about people being like, oh, I did this and it only got 4 listens. And I won't give exact numbers, but we do way more than 4. So you guys keep us so motivated to keep doing this, and thank you so much, because we just love wrestling. That's all it is. This is pure passion.
That's all it should be.
And Andy and I have had these type of talks since we were kids, and now we're just we're recording them, and Jeremy's part of it. Jeremy's our third brother, our third adopted brother,
Yes.
as we always say.
But I think that covers everything not related to the shows this week that I can think of. So with that being said, we can get right to it. As Tim mentioned, though, at the top of the show, the last thing we're going to talk about is the CM Punk and Seth Rollins confrontation, which normally we would talk about next week, but we're going to bring it in this week and end the show on that, since I feel like it's important, and since we're skipping next week. So let's get right into it. Raw from this past Monday, or 2 Mondays ago now, the 4th of December. Drew McIntyre opened up the show. He cut a promo to talk about everything that's happened with him recently. He would mention Sami Zayn's name, who would come out to respond, and they would end up having a match, which Drew would end up the winner. And shortly after, I believe it was right after a commercial break, we would see Sami Zayn being attacked backstage by Drew. So it looks like they are continuing this feud instead of just, a Monday Night Raw match.
What do you think
Becky
about
Lynch and Nia Jax? Oh,
well, I was just wondering, what do you think about the idea that people are saying, and people, I don't want to give too much credit anywhere. There's some people that think that Sammy may be too competitive with Drew.
What do you mean?
Like, they eventually have, when they wrestle.
Too competitive, like
Drew should be squashing.
Is he trying to outshine Drew?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Drew.
Okay. Yeah. You're saying that someone like Drew,
should be squashing Sammy. What are your thoughts?
Well, you could say that about the Roman and Sami Zayn match too.
Well, that's what my thought. If he held his own against Roman, wouldn't he at least hold his own against Drew?
Okay, then in that sense, it should come down to the skill of the wrestler in that sense, then Rey Mysterio should have never been champion against Kurt Angle and Randy, or wrestled Big Show, or seemed like he had a chance at all.
See, and I just want to point out, this is I hate
That's
to
such
say
an old
this.
school, old way of thinking.
You want to know who said it? It was Vince Russo.
Vince Russo.
Not Jim. Not Jim Cornette, you motherfuckers. It was Vince
Sammy
Russo.
looks like a slob, and he should be getting squashed by Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I'm like, but how? He had a competitive match against Roman. Roman beat Drew, so why wouldn't he be competitive with Drew?
Because Daniel Bryan, I guess Vince Russo didn't want Daniel Bryan to beat Batista and Triple H and
whatever. We're giving a guy that doesn't know anything about pro wrestling and still doesn't to this day. He literally makes money because he wrote bad television for 4 years, and we're giving him too much credit. So let's just move on from it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him anymore. So it looks like they're starting the Becky Lynch and Nia Jax rivalry, which is basically 5 years in the making. I mean, Nia was gone for like 2, but they keep showing the old clips now on TV of when Nia broke Becky's nose and kind of launched Becky to become the man gimmick. This rivalry probably should have taken place a long time ago, but they're finally cashing in on it. It's an easy story to tell. And so I mean, we're not going to talk about next week's or this past week's Raw, but it did continue into 2 days ago on Raw. So they are definitely doing something with it, at least, up until maybe the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
DIY continues to team up, continues to be a team, and they defeated Imperium, who they've been feuding with, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I'm glad they're doing something with both of those guys and not putting them by the wayside because they're very talented. The Creed brothers, who are some of the recent call-ups, defeated J.D. McDonough and Dominic Mysterio in a match. I believe they were still the number 1 contenders for the Judgment Day. Unless, I'm trying to remember if they had their match this past Monday. I don't know, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about last week's. So, and then the main event of the night was Seth Rollins retaining his World Heavyweight title against Jey Uso, and I thought it was a good match. Afterwards, Drew McIntyre, who continues to show his heel side, would take out Jey and Seth afterwards to close the show.
He's showing his power.
How you feel about a heel?
A pouty
he's pouting,
Drew.
more like, yeah, that's what it
feels
is. How do you feel about that?
He's it should have been me. I don't know. That's the vibe I get.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But
But
Tim said,
honestly, it's better than like Drew with the sword and being like the hero.
They finally got and like putting in the
sucked.
thing. Yeah.
I was like, this is lame.
No, he's coming out angry. He's attacking people backstage. I'd rather have that than what Vince McMahon turned him into, I should say.
No one wanted that, and I think that, like, look.
Did you know that sword was Vince's?
Okay, God, but I didn't know that. But
he's like, I got a sword for you, pal.
I got a sword for you, pal. But like, I get like it might be good with kids and maybe some merch sales with kids, but like, I don't know. I don't think that character did anything for him. And the worst part about it is, poor guy, the peak of that character was him fighting Brock at a Mania where it was COVID, so there was no people in the audience. He had his quote-unquote crowning moment at WrestleMania, and there was nobody there for it. I do always feel bad for him.
That's his whole thing.
Like that, I do always feel like that.
And then he held the title a lot. It was really just him for that specific title. It was really just him and Randy throughout the pandemic because they feuded. That held that title. Drew carried it most of the time, and then Miz like cashed in and held it for like a week. And I think.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Roman not around a lot because
Roman's on SmackDown?
Oh, okay, no, but I was also saying I thought Roman
they had
wasn't
separate
around.
titles at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the beginning, he wasn't around. I'd say the first, I don't know, 2-3 months maybe of the pandemic. Because then Braun Strowman was champion and Bray
It's just
or the
crazy.
Fiend,
Like, it's
they were
just like
feuding.
Brock Lesnar beats The Undertaker, right? And then Drew pins Brock Lesnar clean, and no one's there to see it. Like, that should have been his, like, crowning moment of passing.
Yeah, I mean that was the Rumble that Edge came back and Brock was destroying people, and Drew finally eliminated him after like half of the. Like they got up to like spot number 15, and it was just Lesnar in the ring by himself, and like Drew and Ricochet
it's
finally
crazy.
like got rid of Brock.
I
remember that Rumble.
I'm not a big Drew McIntyre guy, but I do feel bad for him.
And then the other part of his story they talked about, which this is more storyline, not real world affecting it, but the whole Clash at the Castle, being screwed by the bloodline in front of his friends and family,
and then
when he went against Roman.
And then having to do that stupid segment with the boxer afterwards where they sing the country song.
Oh, dude. Yeah, Tyson Fury.
That was terrible.
Dude, that was awful. I was like, they should be off the air right now. And it just like, you're going to have cameras still go? Okay.
Ugh.
It's a bold choice.
Terrible.
Yeah. But okay, let's move forward to Dynamite. As Tim said, we're gonna this Continental Classic tournament still continues. I'm watching Dynamite right now. It's continuing every show, every week. I think it ends at the upcoming pay-per-view at World's End, or just World's End, which is December 30th. That's the next wrestling pay-per-view across WWE and AEW. The Rumble's not even until January 24th, so it's a while. But that's usually a thing that happens. It's usually a while between, like a little longer span after Survivor Series, or they fill it in with like a Night of Champions in the past, or
it's
something
crazy.
like that.
It's crazy that we're in, like, quote unquote WrestleMania season right now. First of all, just want to remind the people that we will be filming the ultimate PW fan vlog from the train ride. Well, actually, I'm going to start the day I wake up, getting ready in the morning. I'm doing everything. I don't know about you guys, but we're going to do a whole vlog, all of us, to the
You're
train
the one
ride.
filming stuff.
Dude, you got to film stuff too. You got to film yourself, brushing your teeth in the morning, making a bowl of cereal. That's what the
Am I going to film you? Film me?
Yes. Listen. People want to see. They want to see you and Lily morning of day of WrestleMania. You're brushing your teeth and you're saying bye to Lily, and you'll see her when we get back from the show. People want to see that stuff. The people. Do it for the people. Do it for the people.
Do the people chime in? Do the people want Tim to bring both of his replica titles to Mania?
Is it too lame to bring? Andy says he's going to be embarrassed.
No, he's tried to get me to hold one, and I'm not doing it.
I think Andy should.
They're heavier than you think. If you haven't held one, I'm not carrying it around the whole time in Philly.
I think that Andy should hold the Eddie Guerrero title every night that we're there, as to pay homage to Eddie Guerrero. But he won't.
I mean, I do love that title. You know, some people hate that title. I love that title. But that's just like because that's the era that like I really fell in love with.
That's disrespectful. I never want to hear about that ever again.
If you're, I think some people probably like the John Cena title better than that one. I was like, you're out of your goddamn mind.
The spinner title is the worst. All right, we're getting way off topic. We're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we started at the Continental Classic and then got away from it. Yes. Point is, we will be recording a bunch of stuff and I guess putting it out on YouTube, clips on TikTok, everywhere. So
I'm gonna load it up. All the Apple people know either Jeremy or myself will load it up in the iMovie and make something cool, and we'll have that up on the channel for you guys. I already know that's going to be our most popular video. It's 4 months away and it's already our most popular video.
All right, so Dynamite this week. The Continental Classic continues. Opening match was Jon Moxley defeating Roosh. Both members are part of the Gold League. So that means 3 more points got added to Moxley. I haven't been keeping track of points. I just know like Moxley's in the lead or tied with like Danielson and maybe Swerve or Brody King's crushing it too. He's undefeated. So Moxley beats Roosh. There's pre-tape promos backstage for Jay White and Jay Lethal. Jay White talking about his time when he was younger in ROH, and Jay Lethal was someone that he looked up to, and now he claims that he's surpassed him. There was a backstage altercation, you could say, with MJF and Hangman Adam Page. Started with Hangman addressing Strickland before almost coming to blows with MJF. But Samoa Joe would insert himself between the two so that nothing would happen. Yeah. I don't know if they're teasing at something. Personally, I don't want Hangman going after the title again. I'd rather see Swerve right now with his trajectory go after the title than even if he's going to lose.
I think the best Hangman. I think the best thing that AEW could do at this point is maybe stay away from some of the stuff that they've done in the past. The Hangmans, the Jerichos. Stay away from Moxley for a little bit. I think you're right. Like putting the belt on somebody fresh like Swerve, maybe a fresh start. Like let's start, get over this whole Punk leaving thing, get over the Jack Perry incident, get over all the crap. Maybe let's start new. I think having a new champ, fresh start, that could be good. That could be something positive.
I mean, the next champ I'd like to see Swerve or Jay White, but they made Jay White lose to a guy that was injured. So
I just think
on a pay-per-view.
I just think like if this was a regular TV show, it's the end of the season. It's been dragging on for a while. Let's close this out. Let's get to season 2. I'm ready for like AEW 2.0. Like Tony's always talking about the new and improved. Tony's always talking about the new and improved, and tonight's a new era, and blah blah blah. I'm like, let's then do it. Let's make it new. Let's get it. Let's switch some stuff up.
Tony's always talking about a lot of stuff.
All right, we'll lay off Tony tonight.
He's talking about a lot of stuff. Yeah, I feel like we do go hard sometimes.
I'm pissed,
and then we explain why. So
no,
we don't need to keep explaining
why. No. I'm just gonna say I said this to a customer that came in today who listens to the show. I get mad at AEW like a son, like a son who he has so much potential, but he's just wasting it. You know what I mean? It's more like, come on, you can do better. I know you can. It's more like that. It's not like I'm like rooting for them to fail. It's more like
it's tough love.
I know you can do it. Let's fucking come on, get your head out of your ass and let's go.
I've seen your potential, and then it went back down, and let's get back there.
Let's get back.
Okay. Well, speaking of Swerve, like we were talking about, Swerve Strickland would defeat Mark Briscoe to earn points in his Gold League. Swerve would end up confronting Moxley backstage, which I believe. He would confront Moxley before Excalibur would officially reveal that next week Winter is Coming, which is on right now as we're recording it. It's going to be Moxley versus Swerve. And they mentioned a little bit about how
for
Swerve won the death match.
Credit to Tony. Moxley versus Swerve. That's a match that you need right now. However, should it have waited for maybe
Swerve
a pay-per-view?
should go over. I want Swerve to win.
But what I'm saying is, do matches like this need to wait for pay-per-view? Should you be giving away? Should Edge and Christian, we'll
talk about that.
But I'm just saying, should that match have happened on TV? Why was that not on a pay-per-view?
I got an opinion on it, but
All right.
we're gonna get to it in a second. But yeah, I mean they're gonna wrestle each other again for this tournament. There's a lot of matchups that would have made good storylines throughout this tournament, like because it's all like top guys in it. And they just hopefully they eventually do more than just one off with some of these because some of the matches have been really good.
Look though, the in ring work, that's never my. I mean, besides some people, have been getting hurt. It's a very physical style. So it's different than the WWE. The chance of getting hurt is a little bit more. The in ring work is never my problem. I just want it to make sense. That's it.
No, I agree. I agree. Last match that had to do with the tournament this week on Dynamite was Jay White defeating Jay Lethal, which I thought was the right call. Points to Jay White for the Gold League. Now, as Tim said, the main event of the show was Christian Cage against Adam Copeland. Christian Cage would end up retaining the title. Now, since they say they did it because it was in Montreal, even though aren't they from Toronto?
I mean, I guess
Montreal's
they're in the country of Canada, so they were like, okay, we're doing it.
I figured that something would go down to where it wouldn't be a clean win, which would end up happening. But so basically, I'll just say the match was fine. It's not on the level that I thought it should have been for these two guys. What I hope is that it's just a little appetizer of what's to come. If it's the only one-on-one meeting that they have, it was a letdown. I hope they have, you say, a rematch at the World's End pay-per-view.
I don't think it'll be their only one, but I think that you should have built the anticipation to the first good one. And we'll talk about Nick Wayne's mom, but Jesus Christ. What was an overall good match, decent, at least, for two guys, especially at their age. It was fine. But for two guys at that age doing that, to have that ending is like, oh my God. Did that need to be there?
So the ending, the match was overbooked as your boy, Bryce Remsburg, the referee, he took a bump, and then Shayna Wayne, who was Nick Wayne's mom, turned heel on Adam Copeland since he speared Nick Wayne. He took out Nick Wayne the other week with a concerto.
He's never coming back in for a haircut, so I'm not worried about it.
Oh, okay. Well,
he came in that one time and he just disappeared. Probably, you know what it is? I think it's because I had the CM Punk picture on my wall. He was like, "Oh man, this guy,
like, this fucking Mark."
So
yeah, Shayna Wayne would turn heel on Adam Copeland and hit him with the TNT title. People gave her shit. It was not that bad. I've seen worse from like Vince McMahon and stuff. Like, it was not as bad as people said. Though,
it wasn't.
What do you expect? She's not.
It wasn't good.
It was as good as someone that doesn't do it.
It shouldn't have been in the match.
It shouldn't have been in the match. It was supposed to be revenge for, I believe, Adam Copeland, concertoed Nick Wayne like a week or two before.
Okay, just hear me out. Would they let something like this slide on Raw? No.
Oh, and by the way, Christian Cage won with a shot to the neck to Adam Copeland to set up an injury angle.
Match was fine. Edge and Christian wrestling. Hell yeah. Didn't need the weird end. The problem is that she already
the build could have been better.
No. Why didn't she come in and look at Christian the whole time? Like, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you with the belt. And
she
then
went straight for Adam Copeland.
That's what doesn't make sense. She gave it away. All right, anyway.
Yeah.
We're giving this
He
too much
came
thought.
in, like, grabbed the belt right.
We're trying to make sense out of something that like is illogical and doesn't make sense anyway. So let's just move on from it.
Well, that wraps up Dynamite. Let's get into SmackDown. SmackDown was the tribute to the troops. And we had the first match of the night was the United States Contender Tournament, where it was Santos Escobar defeating Dragon Lee. Then we had an interaction with Nick Aldis and Randy Orton backstage. He questioned Nick Aldis's decision to pair him with LA Knight, which I don't know if it was said. I think it might have been said last week, but because so Randy, he questioned Nick Aldis's decision to pair him with LA Knight against the Bloodline in the main event. But during this segment, having Randy Orton say that he didn't know who Knight was until last week isn't a good way to put over LA Knight.
The problem is it's two baby faces. So are they setting up a Randy LA Knight match at WrestleMania?
Randy LA Knight. Ooh.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Seth.
I didn't even think about that.
Seth and Punk. Booker Tim, maybe? Seth and Punk.
Booker Tim. Yeah.
Seth and Punk. Roman and Cody. LA Knight and Randy.
Randy Orton.
Here's the problem with that. I don't like, when you're playing a video game or when you're fantasy booking as a kid, it sounds cool. I don't like two baby faces. Usually, depending on the circumstance, we'll get into Punk and Rollins later. But I don't like usually two baby faces going against each other because it always makes the crowd feel weird.
Well, there's also too many people that want revenge on like Roman and the Bloodline right now. Like, you got AJ Styles who was taken out and hasn't showed back. You got Randy who wants revenge on the Bloodline for taking him out, quote unquote, and then you want LA Knight who says he's not done with Roman yet.
You know what's crazy? I'm just thinking about the roster right now and just who's on it. And obviously, The Rock probably won't be there. If he is, it's awesome. But Austin, I don't know if he'll make an appearance. But dude, I literally think that we might be going to the best WrestleMania.
Getting a really good Mania.
Yeah, it's holy
40.
shit. It's stacked.
Dude, it's 40. And we've talked about it, just you and me, off camera and stuff. I remember where we were watching WrestleMania
20. Yeah.
Which was the Taker came back as the dead man persona. And
Brock versus Goldberg.
There was a main event that featured someone that shall not be named in a triple threat against Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Shawn Michaels and Triple H versus a guy.
Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle, right?
Yep. Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. JBL versus John Cena.
John Cena won the United States title?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was it against Big Show?
I
think it was the Mania after 21 was JBL, and because JBL I don't remember being United States champion.
Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe it was the Big Show.
That might have been 21, and that was for the WWE title.
Okay, it was 20 years ago.
That's when Cena became the new guy. And then you had Christian versus Jericho, and Trish Stratus was in the corner, right?
Yeah,
trying to remember some of these. But yeah, I mean, now we're doubling the number, and now we're going to.
I thought about that. You and I watched WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 19, and WrestleMania 20. I would say I loved 18, but 19 and 20, I feel were landmarks for me and you of life. That was our wrestling peak of love. WrestleMania 19, WrestleMania 20.
I think 20 was the first one we ordered on pay-per-view. Most of the other ones before, that was the start of ordering pay-per-views for us before we just found out the next day on Raw. Because we never had the
I think the first pay-per-view we ever ordered was we just knew that we had to watch it. It's fine that we're going off on a tangent. This is good wrestling memories. This is what the people are here for. I think the first pay-per-view we ever ordered, because we knew we had to get it, is we were at that wedding, and our cousin's wedding, and
What was that? What was that pay-per-view?
No Way Out 2003, Brock versus Eddie.
Versus Eddie.
And I think we just knew, like, I was like, we have to order this. Eddie's going to win the belt, and we have to see it.
So the Rumble, that Rumble, before that, we watched at our friend's house. And then did we watch No Way Out there too, or did we order No Way Out?
We watched No Way Out in our basement. And I think the Bollingtons, I think the Bollington brothers might have come over.
Maybe they came over to us.
But I know
we went to them for the Rumble.
I know for a fact you and I watched the No Way Out together and freaked out when Eddie won. And it was a great memory.
I do remember. Goldberg came in and set up Brock and Goldberg. Oh, yeah, that was another match at WrestleMania 20, the first Brock and Goldberg encounter, which with Stone Cold as the special enforcer, which was a letdown of a match because everyone knew they were both leaving.
And, this is the PW fans, so, like, I think it's cool that we get to talk about this type of stuff sometimes, just besides, like, acting like we're Dave Meltzer and reviewing the show. Like, one of the things that I really enjoy is, like when people ask me and they say, like, how do you still like wrestling? And I'm like, and of course, it's fake, right? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you don't understand the memories that I have wrapped up in this shit. Like, imagine watching your favorite movie for 20 years and the story keeps going. Like, people freaked out about Game of Thrones and, like, Breaking Bad, and, like, those shows went on for, like, what, 4 or 5 years? I'm talking, you get attached to characters from when you're a kid, from you're like 10, 11 years old. I'm 33. It's like, yeah, I'm into this shit.
Else is fake every show on TV.
Well, yeah, I mean, nothing's real, but what I'm saying is, like, people are like, oh, I love that character or whatever. I'm like, imagine loving that character since you were 10 and it's still going now. Like, that's, like, the type of love that, like, goes.
That's how I feel about Dragon Ball Z.
Right, yeah, it's like...
Still going. All right, yeah, we do like to go off on tangents.
This is a fun, we don't got the Jer Bear here, we're filling time.
So, like I said, SmackDown was tribute to the troops. We had Cody Rhodes come out, which to address the troops. I mean, who's a better person to come out there and do that? He comes out dressed as Mr. America.
I mean, anyway, if it's not John Cena,
didn't feel forced, didn't feel fake, felt genuine.
If it's not John Cena, then Cody Rhodes is the guy to do this.
Yeah. After that, we had another United States Contender Tournament. We had Bobby Lashley, who is a former Marine, so the crowd was hot for him, defeating a returning Karrion Kross. Tim, I don't know if his hair heat's still going, but his hair is longer. He has a little bun.
No, yeah.
But he did lose.
He still has hair heat with Matt Cardona. I just listened to the Major Pod the other day. He was like, he's trying. He's like, he's still got beef with me, but he's trying to get that hair longer.
After that, and this time he was not at the end of the show. He was in the middle of the show, as he would say. CM Punk returned to SmackDown for the first time in 10 years, just like on Raw.
This promo was fire.
Much better, and I'm sure, not that I didn't dislike his first promo, but a lot of people did from Raw. So yeah, this promo was much more fiery. He said that
this felt
he has more time.
This felt like CM Punk, like as we know him.
So let's see. He referenced past issues with KO, history with Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman. He called Roman Reigns out for never being around, and played up the whole which brand is he going to sign storyline. Because we'll talk a little bit about it. He would end up going to NXT Deadline on Saturday, next night. So we'll talk about that.
And I just didn't want to glance over one thing. The one thing that's really important to take away from this promo is, if you're going to take anything away, is he brings up the part he was talking about how, Kevin Owens, you and I are a lot alike, maybe too much alike. And who would want to be around a guy who randomly attacks?
You want the exact quote?
I mean, if you have it. But what I'm getting...
He said, I don't know who would feel comfortable working with someone who just randomly punches people in the face backstage. It's 2023. You just can't be doing that.
Here's the thing. People like me and Andy and Jeremy, fans listening to this show, probably understood what he was talking about. I don't think a lot of people cared or even knew what the fuck he was talking about. I don't think people...
Majority probably don't.
I don't think people care about what happened in AEW. They don't care about AEW like in the... I'm talking about the general wrestling fan.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're in the WWE bubble. Yeah, they don't.
Right. So my thing is, it almost seems like he threw that line out there to gauge, like, do people even care about this shit, or can we just move on? And it seems like we can just move on. How many people did? And I think we can just move on, which is good.
Yeah.
Start fresh. I'm all about starting fresh. AEW start fresh. Punk start fresh. Let's get back to good wrestling.
So the reaction from the crowd, he had a monster pop. Some of the quotes, he said, the good news is that it's the top of the 9 o'clock hour. I'm not on last, so I won't get my time cut. Chant all you want, which they did. He would say, a friend of mine who welcomed me back home famously likes to come out here and say, what do you guys want to talk about? Referencing Cody Rhodes. He would also say, Tribal Chief, I acknowledge you. Congratulations on all your success. Don't forget who the OG Paul Heyman guy was. Don't forget that he was my wise man first. I mean, eventually down the line, we're going to get Roman versus Punk with Paul Heyman in a shark cage match.
I love it. I'm all for it. The winner gets Paul Heyman.
I was hoping for an interaction backstage or like a stare down of Heyman and Punk, but there was none that night.
I want to see a storyline where it's like you got Brock, you got Punk, and
That's Mania next year.
Heyman, and they're all looking at Paul, and he's like, wait.
Paul's in the middle.
Yeah, he's like, wait. Hang on. I don't want any problems.
Well, I mean, Punk says that he was first, but Brock was first. Out of all of them. 02?
I would say Brock is technically first.
Yeah. Then years went by, and it became Punk.
Well, Paul Heyman tells that story of where Vince McMahon called him and was like, we're going to have you manage another guy. And he was like, oh, I'm good. I don't want to manage anybody else. Me and Brock got a good thing going. And then he's like, no, seriously, I don't want to manage anybody else. And then he's like,
and then they said Punk.
It's going to be CM Punk. And then he's like, I'll see you next week.
And Paul was one of the guys, and if you watch the Best in the World documentary, that fought for Punk. But I think Punk is the first person they used the term Paul Heyman guy with.
I think Punk is the originator of I'm a Paul Heyman guy. He said,
yeah. Well, he ended up getting a shirt because of it.
Yeah, he said, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. You know who else is a Paul Heyman guy? Brock Lesnar. And he split just like I'm splitting.
Just like I'm splitting. So yeah, this segment with Punk was much better than, again, not that me and Tim did not like the Raw one, but he got more time, and it was like Mondays was like they were slowly introducing Punk back. And then we're going to talk about his third promo back, which I guess you could say the NXT one was the third promo. And then we'll talk about the fourth, which is this past Raw, which was, I mean, that was great. I can't wait to get to it. So let's get through this so that we can get there. So SmackDown continued. There was a little interaction with Kevin Owens and Punk backstage, teasing that future feud. Charlotte Flair, pretty sure got injured during her match with Asuka. There's fan videos of the part that she could have gotten injured at. And it seems like Bayley's continued to be pushed out of Damage Control. There was interaction with Cody Rhodes and Punk backstage, and then right after that with Randy, LA Knight, and Punk, where Punk simply just said good luck. And then the main event was Randy Orton and LA Knight defeating the Bloodline. So SmackDown continues to be solid. I mean, Raw's been solid too. It's funny, AEW lately, like, their shows have been, because of this tournament, has just been like really focused on the wrestling. Because all these guys that would be in storylines are in this tournament.
Yeah.
It's just something I've noticed. Rampage, just want to talk about the One Continental Classic match, which is Bryan Danielson defeating Daniel Garcia. I mean, two really talented guys. And then Collision, Eddie Kingston defeated Claudio in the tournament as well for the Blue League. Match was not part of the tournament, but Kenny Omega defeated Ethan Page, who has returned recently. And I always thought Ethan Page was really good, but no one cares for him. He comes out, he got in crazy good shape from his time off of television. I mean, I hope someone does something with him. There's been moments he comes out and cuts a promo, and you can see it.
I will say another thing with AEW, and I know, Andy, I'm starting to see more and more. Over the years, I've really I think I see your point of view. When there's not a story happening, it feels like it's just matches. If there's
that's what it's been.
All these tournaments. Oh, it's the tournament for the blah, blah, blah. I like when something's at stake, or these two guys hate each other, or the winner, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think AEW needs more of that. The Edge and the Adam Copeland and Christian stuff was really good. The Punk and MJF stuff was really good. They've had Cody and Dustin in the beginning. Jericho and Kenny had some good history. Moxley's done some stuff with some good stories. I just think they need to get back to having good story. The wrestling's cool, but you got to give me something that makes me want to see this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm trying to think of the storylines because of these tournaments of what's going on right now, and I can't think of that many. You got Edge or Adam Copeland and Christian,
and the Devil.
You got the MJF stuff with the Devil, and I can't even think of what's going on in the women's division storyline wise. There's not really anything for the TBS championship or the women's title. Yeah, I mean, you got all these top guys that could be in storylines just wrestling in the tournament. Which, this is going to be over soon, so hopefully something comes from it. Yeah, I mean, some of the other storylines you could talk about in the past, I thought the payoff of the Hangman and Swerve was really good.
Hangman and Hangman.
Sometimes they knock it out of the park.
I wasn't a fan of some of the stuff in the match. Some of it, I liked the match overall. The Hangman and Swerve stuff was good. They told a good story. He's went to his house and everything. That stuff was good. So I do want to be fair and make sure I point that out.
No, I mean, sometimes they definitely knock it out of the park. It's just lately there haven't really been
storylines.
There's been matches.
You need something hot, something to spark that flame again.
Yeah. And I'm sure that will pick back up after this tournament's done. But it's like again, you have a pay-per-view on December 30th. What are the matches going to be if you have no storylines?
And that's the other thing. It's December 13th right now, and you have a pay-per-view in 2 weeks.
Unless it's just
And-
random matches with no storylines. I mean,
But that's the thing. It's like but okay, fine, if you're gonna do that way, but then you're asking people to spend $60, $65 or whatever it is on a pay-per-view where it's like, okay, the point of me paying for this is to see the culmination of like big, like I've been waiting to see this. Like dream matches are cool, but like how many do we have left?
so I'm looking at the matches so far for the pay-per-view. There's 3. There's the winner from the Blue League and winner from the Gold League for the inaugural Triple Crown Championship, which is the ROH World Championship, Strong Openweight, and AEW Continental Championship. I guess it's all 3. I don't know if they're merging or not, but so that's one match. The winner, how this tournament pays off. Then there's Big Bill and Ricky Starks, who are the tag team champions, going against the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. And then you have MJF versus Samoa Joe. Those are the only. I mean, the tournament is its own story, I guess. And then those are really. I'm sure there's going to be an Edge or Adam Copeland and Christian thing somewhere in there.
Dude, this is why we got to make stuff like this.
You got 2 weeks.
But stuff like this is the reason why we got to make the PW Fan an LLC so we can write this type of shit off. When you're paying $60 for that pay-per-view, I'm like, God, you got to give me something on this, you know? Like, I need something.
So they have 2 weeks. They have like 6 or 7, 6 to 8 shows to come up with something to fill the rest of the card.
I don't know. I
think it's just going to be mainly just thrown together matches.
I would really
But make it worth the price.
I would really like to think that eventually Tony will see that he needs to maybe give some responsibilities for some other people to maybe book, maybe come up with some stuff. It can't just be him all the time. I don't think I could do a better job. I don't think and that's the other thing. As wrestling fans that have never been, and I think our perspective is unique.
You should be bouncing ideas off of people.
Yeah, like as a wrestling fan who's never been a wrestler or technically been in the wrestling business, like, which is basically Tony, he just has a lot of money. I don't think I could like do a better job than him. I don't think that's the problem. I just think that like if I had an Arn Anderson or a Tully Blanchard or somebody, or even a CM Punk behind the scenes being like, hey, what do you think about this? And then if they're like, it's kind of dumb, you should change it to this, I'd be like, hey, you know what? You've been doing this for 40 years. Maybe I'll take your advice. Like I would be utilizing more people.
They're also showing right now on the bottom left corner of the screen all the matches for ROH Final Battle, which I'm like, I don't know anything because one, you have to pay for ROH.
All right, so we'll
I feel like
on.
that's been a disaster.
We'll move on from here, but Eric Bischoff was just quoted with his show on 83 Weeks. He said, if I was Tony Khan and ROH was a horse, I would take it out back and put it out of its misery. And then the top comment, and I was like, damn, I've never thought about it like that, but this is a great description. Someone just said, all ROH is AEW with a DLC skin. And I was like, dude, that is dead accurate. Like, it's just AEW, but they just put up a new banner and a logo.
No, I've never thought about it that way, but
But
yeah.
but taking the horse out back,
And literally, when
maybe.
you're there at watching, when you're in person watching Collision, all they literally do is change the skins around the arena, and
So-
then you're at, because it shares the same Titantron as Collision.
But you have the video library, right, of all these classic guys. You know, Samoa Joe, Tyler Black.
Where's the video library? How do I access it?
But that's the thing. So instead of making ROH like a TV show, you don't need that. But if AEW has a lot of content, they got the roads to the top. I don't know if they're allowed to post that. They got all these interviews. They got some like media scrums, plus all the pay-per-views. You could post all that stuff on a streaming service along with the ROH section where you could go back in the video catalog and watch all that old stuff. The Young Bucks are part of AEW. You could add some PWG stuff on there. It's like, I don't think people want to see Ring of Honor like the company now. It's like, I want to see Ring of Honor how I remembered it. I know that it's
I
not
mean,
around.
you and me have watched some old Ring of Honor matches,
I know that it's not around anymore.
like
so
on your DVDs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of old Ring of Honor DVDs, but like, that's not Ring of Honor. It feels just like it's the
No, I
same
agree.
thing when WWE bought, or when WWE brought back ECW, and they did the ECW version of WWE. It's like it's not the same thing. It's different.
Just the name.
It's just a name,
That's all
and
it is.
you can still
You
make
just
it.
slap the name on it.
You can even make it look like it with the same colors, and like it's still not going to be the same.
Same Titantron, yeah.
It just isn't. Because it's
well,
not.
let's wrap up. What?
It's
Yeah.
just not.
Let's wrap up Collision. Andrade defeating Bryan Danielson in this tournament. Before we fully go out with the Punk and Seth Rollins thing, you want to talk about the opening of NXT Deadline with Shawn Michaels, and Punk?
I mean, it was just, for me, I mean, we can just breeze over it, but for me, it was cool. Like, my two favorite wrestlers ever, if AJ was out there, AJ Styles, it would have been the trifecta. But, Punk, Michaels, they had a funny interaction. They took a selfie together, and then Michaels pointed out, he was like, "Hey, by the way, thanks for wearing my sweatshirt." And then Punk was like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot my HBK gear." And then he's like, "What?" He's like, "You and Brett made amends. Me and Triple H made amends. This is healing." He's like, "We're all healing. We're all healing here."
Then they took a selfie together. They forgot what they were supposed to talk about.
Yeah, apparently
Music hit,
the whole segment they forgot, and then they hit the music and they got kicked off out of the ring. It was funny. And then they just looked at each other.
I will say, speaking
and
of
then they looked at each other and just started laughing once they just started playing the music to make them leave.
So Punk's first match is going to be at a live event against Dominic Mysterio. Might be tonight or tomorrow. But as we saw today, Punk was in the training center. Probably, just getting familiar with it all again. But I've been seeing this a lot lately. That, and I saw it online. I was like, I don't know if that's true. And then I saw it on the Ringside News app. I was like, okay, maybe. It says, I'm gonna botch this name, but Ibu of Wrestle Purist has a good connection with sources close to Punk, and says that Punk's long-term goal is to succeed the 58-year-old Michaels in heading up NXT. WWE officials tell Fightful that something like that would be a long way off, and there are no plans as of now for Michaels to wrap up his run in NXT anytime soon. Ibu also noted that Punk would be observing TV production, something that he was known to do in OVW, and would often bend Paul Heyman's ear about. That'd be crazy if Punk ended up running NXT one day. If there's any
look, all I know is
anything behind this.
It's awesome. Would you want anybody else to be the guy that trains future wrestlers to take seriously a guy that respects Bret Hart, a guy that respects Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and Harley Race and Terry Funk. That's who I would want training people.
God, I'm just thinking about like how if you go back like 10 years, like, and you were to tell Triple H, yeah, this thing that you started one day, it's gonna be run by CM Punk, or Vince McMahon telling Vince McMahon back then, like, yeah, one of these new brands you created, it's gonna be run by Punk, who like you don't like at all.
I mean, it's all speculation, and I don't think Sean's leaving anytime
Yeah.
soon in the near future. But
Yeah, I don't know
it's
how
a-
much weight there is to these.
it's a cool
but-
cool thought, you know, to think, because look, Punk is in his 40s.
I mean,
He's not going to do this forever, and
whether he's even
he loves wrestling. He probably just wants to.
whether
He's been hanging out with the NXT people a lot, I noticed.
Well, whether, you know, it's one thing if WWE actually is considering it, or just the fact that like Punk wants to do something like that. That's kind of cool. Just work with future talent.
I think he's always wanted to do that, but I think the problem with AEW is he thought he was going to go there as his vet.
He gave a lot of advice to people backstage.
He did, but I think he
people
went
that
there,
wanted it.
I think he went there as a vet and thinking that these people would be receptive and would like want to hear what he had to say, and I think a lot of them did. But then I think there's a lot of them that rejected it and rejected him, and then they were like, "Okay, old man, we don't want to hear your stupid advice," you know. And like, I think that's where things went wrong there.
Sorry, Mr. Funk. I'm good.
Sorry, Mr. Funk. I'm good. I don't need your advice.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
And then he says, "Grow up." And he takes a bite of his muffin.
So the last thing I wanted to end the show with, because I would hate to just end with the tournament stuff, is this past Monday, CM Punk. Let's just set the stage. CM Punk came to the ring with General Manager Adam Pearce to talk about which brand he was going to choose. He spoke about debuting for WWE in the same building before being sent to OVW. He talked about making a tough decision 10 years ago and even apologized to fans who were upset with him return to WWE. He then declared that he was signing with Raw, and he put his signature on the contract to make it official. He talked about all the offers from Smackdown, from NXT, from Raw. He says he's going to sign with Raw, so he did. As he's standing on top of the turnbuckle celebrating, Seth Rollins' music's hit. And maybe for some people, they were like, wow, they're going to start this like now? You know, or maybe they're just planting the seeds, getting people hyped. Maybe they already planted the seeds at Survivor Series with Seth's freakout. There was an interview where Seth on Sirius radio said that, you know, that was real, but then there's other sources that said it wasn't. So, but there's no reason they would have done this if this wasn't something they're planning for the future. You know what I mean?
No, I'm 100% with it. I think the whole thing, I think it was a need to know basis. I think that Triple H told Seth, like, look, Punk's coming. It's going to be you and Punk at Mania. And I think that, like, he was like, when he comes out tonight, I want you to sell it. Make it seem like you're like, I'm mad this guy's here. And freak out.
Or he's like, just act like how you would if you didn't know he was coming out.
Right.
Like, just be genuine. He's like, all right, I'm gonna say fuck you. I'm gonna flick him off. Like,
I really don't think though. Like, some people are like saying like, oh, we didn't know until his music hit. I'm like, I don't believe it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think that Triple H would do that.
They were all facing that Titantron.
And I don't think that Triple H would do that to. I think Vince would. I don't think not yet. I don't think Triple H has a track record of doing that type of stuff to people, you know, and trying to like work the boys, work his talent. So I don't believe that yet, to be honest with you.
So, like I said, we'll continue the segment. So as Rollins' music hit and he came down, they stared down each other for a long time. Crowd was hot for it. Rollins grabbed a mic and told Punk not to call WWE's home after spending 10 years trying to tear it down and talk trash about everyone backstage, including Seth. He did tell, he's like, what did he say? Like, basically, I'm going to be as genuine as I can about this. He said, I hate you. Which WWE doesn't use that term a lot on television.
Hate. I hate you. Yeah, they don't do a lot of hate.
He said if Punk is going to be in WWE, though, he wants him on Raw so he can expose him as a fraud and wrestle circles around him. Punk told Pierce he was going to enter the Men's Royal Rumble match so he can win and challenge Rollins at WrestleMania 40. Punk also said, though, once Rollins was done talking, he said, "Are you done?" He said, "That's your one pass for you to talk disrespectfully to me without me coming after you."
I love this part because I was like, I don't know if this is real or not.
Yeah. Now, the segment, did you know, I read today, this segment had no producer. There was no producer credit for it.
Then that's the thing. I think
wasn't needed.
I think Seth and Punk got in a room backstage and he was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta say the thing that Hangman said to me about how you're gonna protect the company from." Like, I think that.
So I'm gonna play this video that it's on TikTok. It compared. I'm sure you've seen. It compared the two interactions, the one with Hangman and the one with Seth. So I'm gonna play it real quick. Put the phone in the microphone.
Place. This place. Home. People like you. The championship against you. No, for the first time in my life, will be defending all elite wrestling from you.
Now, that is the promo that Hangman basically went into business for himself, but I think there was more talk with the Seth one.
I think that they were like, "Hey," I think they were like, "Hey, let's do the thing that you should have done over there. This is how you should have made money."
Rollins was great. Rollins talked the most. He was fantastic.
The stare down
in this exchange.
Yeah, okay, fine. You know, Jeremy's not here. You and me are Punk fanboys, but Seth crushed it on the mic.
Crushed. He did most of the talking. He sold it great.
I think Seth won this mic exchange, minus Punk hitting him with the "This is your one pass to speak to me disrespectfully before I come after you." But that whole segment was, as I saw someone post the other day with the Walter White, someone cooked here.
So, I mean, yeah, we do like Punk more than Rollins. Not that Rollins is bad or anything, but this whole thing, it takes two people. Rollins was great in this. I'm really excited for what these two, Rollins says he'll be a businessman and be professional about it. I can't wait, and I'm sure Punk will be too.
The stare down was awesome.
The tension was great. The tension during this whole segment
you could tell that these dudes don't like each other. It was good. I will
say, I
saw other people saying this.
I sent this in the.
Hang on, I just want to say I saw other people saying this too, and I noticed it when Seth said to him, "I hate you," and they flashed. Punk looked bummed for a second, like genuinely, like, "Damn, like I feel bad that you actually hate me." Like he had it looked like a second.
I mean, maybe that's the problem sometimes with Punk being so honest about how he feels, is that people end up hating you.
And now he's like, maybe he's older and he's like, damn, maybe I did some stuff that rub people the wrong way. You know what I mean?
I mean, we'll never know, but
because when he said I just want to be very clear, I hate you. Punk drops his head down, and he just shakes his head, and he's like he knows, he gets it.
yeah. I mean, maybe he does. Looking back, I mean, it's been almost 10 years. Looking back, maybe he does regret some of the shit talking he did about the company and its people. I mean, again, Triple H said in the press conference after Survivor Series, if you're the same person you were 10 years ago, I mean,
You're doing
you
something
basically
wrong.
suck. Yeah, you're doing something wrong. You're shitty. I think the feud's going to be great. I can't wait for it to be at Mania. I can't wait to see it live.
It feels big. It feels like a big fight feel. To me, there's been some matches over the years that had this feel. You had your Rock and Hogan. You had your Rock and Austin. You had your Cena and Lesnar when Lesnar came back originally, and Cena was different Cena. He's John Cena at this point. You can't see me versus Brock Lesnar. That felt huge. This feels big. This Seth and Punk feels big.
I was telling you guys, I was like, it feels so big. It could headline night 2. They're not going to do it because of Roman and the Cody finishing the story thing.
Here's my thing. I think that LA Knight and Roman could have felt just as big, but they pulled the trigger on it for Crown Jewel. I think if they had let that thing
their WrestleMania. That's like Crown Jewel's WrestleMania.
If they had let that thing cook for a while, I think the LA Knight Roman would have been like even bigger.
Yeah, they only had like because Roman's hardly ever there. They only had a couple interactions.
Right.
But props to Seth during this segment. Can't say it enough. I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping. Look, I don't know if Punk's gonna have a part-time schedule. I'm hoping he's at least there every week, even if he doesn't wrestle every week. That'd be cool to see promos and interactions and whatnot.
And that's the thing. I think what we don't want as Punk fans is for him to get burnt out and start getting crabby. So, if he's there on a limited basis or when he wants to be there, I think that's good.
So, is there anything else to add before going out? Oh, yeah, the one thing I wanted to say is during this segment, I was like, Rollins is taller than Punk? No, they're both 6'1". Rollins was just wearing like these heel boots. It's the only reason why he's taller in this segment when they're looking face to face.
It didn't make sense. There's an old video of them
in NXT.
Yeah, and they're looking at each other doing a stare down. They're same exact height. So I'm like,
yeah, they're both 6'1". I googled it.
So I'm like, all right, either Punk shrunk because his spine is like shrinking from getting old, or like I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand.
No, Rollins was basically wearing heels when he came out, and that's the whole reason.
Well, so does that wrap up the show?
Wraps it up.
All right. Well, since that wraps it up, I'll close us out with Tim's classic show of the week.
And we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. We hope everybody has a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy the time with your family. Even if you don't like the holidays, I hope you do something maybe for yourself to make yourself feel better. Go out, do something nice for yourself. I know not everybody might have a a good family atmosphere somewhere. This time of year might make them upset. I tell you what I would do. I would go get me some good food, come home, watch some wrestling,
put on some RASSLI.
Yeah, and post up. That'd be a good Christmas for me right there. Maybe have a couple beverages. But yeah, we love you all so much, and I appreciate you always listening. The classic show of the week this week, since we're heading into WrestleMania season, is WrestleMania 10, one of my favorites of all time. I'll go over some of these matches here. Opening match is a tag team match, the Heavenly Bodies, with Jim Cornette versus the Bushwhackers. Second match is Owen Hart versus Bret Hart. Andy and I were just talking about this match the other day, which
I wasn't sure if this was WrestleMania 12 or 10. When you said 10, I was like, is that the one with Owen and Bret?
Yeah,
I thought for some reason that was the opening match, but
so and I brought this up because you and I just talked about it the other day, so it like put it on my mind. The next match is Doink the Clown and Dink the Clown versus Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna Vachon. Next, you have Crush versus Randy
is it
Savage.
the Matt Bourne Doink?
I believe so. Alundra Blaze versus Leilani Kai for the WWF's Women's Championship. Men on a Mission, Mabel and Mo versus the Quebecers. Yokozuna again with his second appearance of the night, Jim Cornette coming back out against Lex Luger. Earthquake against Adam Bomb. Razor Ramon against Shawn Michaels in the ladder match, the one that everybody always talks about, the big ladder match, the first
Intercontinental Championship.
Yep. And your main event is Bret Hart versus Yokozuna, making his third appearance of the night, Jim Cornette. Corny comes out 3 times at that. He's managing 3 people at that pay-per-view. So, yeah, again, I hope you all have a great holiday. And, if this show brings you any sort of laughs or joy, we're happy to do it. We love y'all. And we will be back in a few weeks with episode 111. Hopefully, Jeremy will be here. Jeremy, we know you're editing the show, and we love you
Miss
too,
you, Jeremy.
buddy. Miss you, Jeremy. All right, we'll talk to you all soon.